Greetings YouTube, and at last the day I've been waiting for some time now has arrived. Final Fantasy XII The Zodiac Age has been released and it has been delivered to my door as well by the postman, so I'm very grateful for that. And without any further ado, I want to get started on our brand new walkthrough here for the game, one I've been looking forward to for some time now, so I hope you guys have been as well. I'm excited to see the new changes that's been made available in the Zodiac Age since I last played Final Fantasy XII, which was on the PS2. So this is the first time that the game has been released now on a brand new system. Obviously in this case I'm playing on the PS4. I believe it's only available on the PS4 now, not on PC, but I'm sure that will happen in due course. So this series is going to be a complete walkthrough of the game, including all the optional content that the game has to offer, such as the hunts and the treasures, etc, etc. So if you're going to play along with me, you should be able to follow along and get everything that I get in order to get 100% completed by the end. So without any further ado, we're going to get started now. I would ask that if you do enjoy this series, then please do go ahead and remember to hit the like button on the videos that you watch and be subscribed to my gaming channel. And make sure you hit the bell notification as well when you do subscribe, so you are notified when new episodes become available. As always with my walkthroughs, and I have done many of the Final Fantasy walkthroughs if you want to check out my channel, I'm going to try and be quiet throughout the cutscenes so that you guys can sit back, relax and enjoy the story. But without any further ado, let's get started. This is Final Fantasy XII The Zodiac Age. Already you can see one particular option that you probably haven't seen before unless you played the Japanese version or the international version of Final Fantasy XII, which was never released in the West, and that is the trial mode. We can't do anything with that at the moment, but it is a new option that's become available in the Zodiac Age, and it will allow us to load up a save data, which I don't yet have, and enter into arena of up to 100 challenging encounters for rewards, which we can then bring over into the main game. Obviously, as I've said, not yet available. We will be covering it later on. For now, new game. Let's get started. We get to have a look at some of the new settings here briefly. And we can actually choose between the English and Japanese voices and the original and the reorchestrated soundtrack. So the new soundtrack, as you can tell by the menu option here, has been recorded using a real orchestra. It stays true to the original musical score, but it sounds a lot better basically, so we'll be sticking with the reorchestrated, but if for whatever reason you don't like it in your own playthrough, you can change that. And everything else looks pretty good. Speed multiplier, we'll talk about that a little bit later on, another new feature in the game which will allow us to farm a lot easier, a lot more quickly when we need to do such. But let's begin.
In the name of the Father, and in the presence of these holy relics, I hereby pronounce you man and wife from this time forth. May the blessings of the gods light your path for all eternity. Far on.
understand little...
Nabudis has fallen.
Impossible!
My father? I know not. I am sorry.
If Nabudis has indeed fallen, it is only a matter of time before they reach the borders of Dalmasca. There is nothing to halt their advance.
Secure Nalbina with all haste.
I will go.
And I will go at his side.
Galtea, stand watch over your life.
That I be considered worthy.
We must withdraw!
No! The paling still stands!
Shield beyond sight, ne'er failing light.
The paling's fallen!
Then it's over!
For my father. For my father!
Lord Rasler!
Blessings of the Great Father descend, and guide your bodies return to the earth. Great Father, guide your spirits return to the Mother of all. There you shall find peace. Pharaoh.
Wow, what a gorgeous cutscene. It's nice to see that the cutscenes have also received some love here in the remaster.
Was but one of many tragedies to befall the kingdom of Dalmasca. The air of hope that had surrounded Her Royal Highness Princess Ashe's wedding was now quite lost. Dalmasca had been set adrift at the mercy of history's restless tides. At this time, two great empires struggled for dominion over Ivalice. Arcadia in the east, Rosaria the west. The invasion of the kingdom of Nabradia was Arcadia's first step in its westward march. With Lord Rossla's beloved homeland consumed by the hellfires of war, it seemed clear that Arcadia would soon mete out a like fate to Dalmasca. The fall of the fortress at Nalbina told the destruction of the greater part of Dalmasca's forces. A counterattack was mounted by the Order of the Knights of Dalmasca, ever brave and faithful. But against the martial might of the Arcadian armies, they stood little chance of victory. Indeed, their defeat was to be absolute. Soon thereafter, Arcadia came forward, offering terms of peace, or, as one might rather put it, terms of Dalmasca's surrender. Lord Ramanas, King of Dalmasca, and my dear friend, had no choice but to accept these terms. It was, thus, only with reluctance that he set out for Nalbina Fortress, now under Arcadian occupation, to affix his seal to the Emperor's Treaty of Peace. The king had scarce departed his royal city of Rabanasta when the remnants of the Order made their return, and not a moment too soon, for a terrible revelation awaited them. The treaty would be signed with steel and writ in royal blood.
There's a definite already Final Fantasy XV feel to this game, isn't it? Obviously this came first, so it seems that Final Fantasy XV perhaps took some great inspiration from 12.
It's as I feared. They're slowing us down.
Do not say that. Not all of us are here for love of battle. He fights to defend his homeland. Your name?
Rex, sir. My name's Rex.
Good. Rex. You bore a few cuts, but you are still whole. Well, can you stand? Think you can fight?
I'm fine, sir.
How old are you, Rex?
17, sir.
Young. Family?
My brother is all I have left, sir. He's 2 years younger than I, living in Rabanasta.
So young. You're barely old enough to be a man. You shouldn't be forced to wield a sword.
No, sir. I want to fight. For my homeland. And for my parents.
It's time, Bosch. Save the discussion for later. We must reach the king before they act, or all our efforts will be in vain.
I'm aware of the situation.
We found them! Over there!
Bossler, go ahead. I will handle this rabble.
Godspeed.
Steady, Rex. Keep your wits about you and you'll make it. We move!
Right, so we're actually going to get control of Rex here. And we get to see the beautiful character models as they've now been improved in the HD remaster here. And Bash is just going to give us a couple of brief tutorials here so we can get used to the movement system. So a brief summary or rundown, if you like, of what's just happened, because that was quite an exciting opening and a lot was going on. Basically, What we're doing here is going to try and race towards that king of Dalmasca, who we've just seen coming to sign, on his way here to sign a treaty with Arcadia, sorry, which is basically a kingdom that wants to be an empire. It's already started taking over some of the lands to the east of us, and it wants to take over Dalmasca as well. And the reason it wants to do that is because it's not very nice. So, the princess we saw at the start, Vash, her husband, newlywed, has just been killed, and now everyone's really angry in our kingdom. So the king has decided that he wants to surrender because he doesn't want any more bloodshed. So he's gone off to sign this treaty in blood, as the guy at the start, the narrator, just told us. And we're now here because we're going to try and race to him in order to stop him. That's basically the gist of it, and we're going to start by controlling this Rex fella, as I've said. He's the brother of another character we're going to be introduced to a little bit later on. But for now, we're just going to do what we've been told to and approach Bash here, who's quite the fighter, as we've just witnessed. So, we can go and see this chirpy looking fella. Say hello to him. He's a Damascan soldier. I'll just drink my coffee while the dialogue's going. And we can also see the map in the top right hand corner of the screen. That's going to guide us on our way and also include, you know, points of interest and that we need to know about. And I'm just trying to see here if I can bring up the menu yet, but I don't think we can at the moment. So I'll just go ahead and speak to the gate here, unless anybody else wants to tell us anything. Usually, if a person has something interesting to say, it will actually have their name above their head. Okay. Right then, so now we're going to get introduced to the attack and battle tutorial. And we get this red line which signifies that we're targeting a particular enemy. So all we have to do, we can go at range if we want so we don't get hit. We can just bring up the menu here and we can select either magics and techniques or items if we need to heal up or do whatever else. But for now we're just going to select attack, choose the target, and then we will attack automatically when our charge bar is full. And we'll continue to attack automatically until the enemy is defeated.
Captain?
And here we have our first boss. And basically, all we have to do is attack. You can tell it's a boss because it has the red health bar at the top of the screen, which is a handy way of obviously just telling us how long left of the battle we've got to get through. And it's actually impossible to lose this encounter, at least as far as I'm aware. The official strategy guide actually tells you to heal up if you drop below 50% health, but it's not necessary, because as you can see there's a soldier here that will just throw potions on you as you lose your health. I was just going to see if there's any other magics we can use at the moment. We don't need to. But, you know, we could show them off, couldn't we? Let's hit it with a thunder spell. Too late. What you're seeing here is Bash casting his quickening spell. A very powerful attack.
My engines are hit. She'll not hold much longer.
We receive you, Tomberry. You've leave to retire. Well fought.
My thanks, Antlion. Tonberry disengaging.
And look at that, we get more Imperials to battle against. So the battle system is actually quite a departure from previous games in the series. If you've played, you know, Final Fantasy up until Final Fantasy X, and that's all you've played, it's probably going to take a little bit of getting used to. But, you know, we're in 2017 now, and playing games that have come out more recently, and then going back to Final Fantasy XII, almost feels like you're stepping back to the older Final Fantasy games, because you still have the ATB bar in some degree existing. But for its time, it was a big departure from what we were used to before. So here we get a description or tutorial on the location map, which is actually new to the Zodiac Age. In previous versions of Final Fantasy XII, you could bring up a larger map, but it would take up the entire screen. You wouldn't be able to have it as an overlay as we see here. So we can basically keep this active, and then we'll always know where it is that we're going, which is, of course, I guess, a handy utility. And we can actually access the menu now as well. We can see that we just have 3 options. The config, which is what we saw before we began the game when we messed about with the menu settings. Inventory, pretty self-explanatory. We can see what items and weapons and armour and abilities we have available. And status, which just tells us the stats and the experience requirements of our characters. More menu options will become available later on. We can also see the amount of money that we have, which is gil. At the moment, none whatsoever. And the amount of steps that we've taken. There's trophies that unlock as we reach certain amounts of steps. And of course, the time played. At the moment, just shy of 20 minutes. There's also a new autosave feature in Final Fantasy XII. Every time you switch areas, the game does autosave. To save backtracking should the worst come to the worst.
What if Captain Azulis has fallen?
Don't talk such nonsense. Vossler's laughed in the face of death far too many times for him to stop now. Men like him don't die in places like this. We must make haste to reach the king. We will take him to safety.
Is His Majesty unharmed?
He'll agree to an unconditional surrender. They wouldn't dare touch him until the wax on his seal is dry.
But if we arrive after he signed the treaty...
Wait. Quickly, Rex.
So, a couple of other things I could probably tell you actually about the map before we move on. If you press the touchpad, you'll bring up the map in non-overlay format if you wish to do so. You can also zoom in and out, although not by a whole amount. And you can also move the map around when it's in its full screen form as well. But most of the time we're probably just going to be using the overlay map. And you can also see the red X with a circle around it in the top corner. That is obviously our destination for the quest or mission that we are on. And we get another tutorial there, or information if you prefer, on how we can escape from battle if need be. And as you can see, we're not going to be finding these encounters too challenging because we've got these armed swordsmen with us, and they're pretty much doing most of the work as well, aren't they, which is interesting. And we're just going to keep heading north here. But what's this? This is a save crystal. Before we go any further, actually, there's an item I believe we can grab, and I would like to do so if possible. So I'm just going to see, it's in one of the alcoves that we've just ran past, basically. Just got to be careful because Van has come back to this area by himself now, meaning that we could face certain death if we're not careful. But I guess this is a good way to practice our encounters. Look, we can even test out the new speed function. So we'll grab a potion there. Turn that off for a moment so that we can actually see where we're going. And the enemies do appear on the map as a red dot. There's that treasure chest I was talking about. And it only contains, well, usually a potion. The treasure's actually random in this game, believe it or not. So you might not necessarily gain the same item that I gain, but I'd imagine in this case you would. Let's see if we can whiz through this, and then we can use that save point just to heal up again after. So I've got a feeling I'll be using that speed function quite regularly because, well, it's helpful, I guess, isn't it? Which is good. Okay, so I just didn't want to miss that item, that treasure, since I do want to show you everything that's possible for me to show you. And as we start heading towards these stairs now, no surprises, we're going to encounter some more enemies.
Intruders! Don't let them escape!
Sir, we have little time. You must go to the king. I'll handle these.
Fight well.
Right, so we've got a solo fight here. We are going to have to heal up more than likely. But for now, we're just going to get some attacks off. If we can kill the first enemy, then that's obviously going to be a bonus. Because that's going to reduce the amount of damage that we take. Maybe we won't have to heal here. In fact, I don't think these are the only enemies we're about to fight, so we probably will have to. Or maybe not. And we'll just open the door here. Nothing around there, so we'll just head over to this side here. I guess it's kind of helpful having this map, isn't it? This overlay map. Previously, you'd have to keep opening the main screen map here in order to get your bearings and see where you are. But now, obviously, that isn't going to be the case at all. And here, I believe, we'll get the final cutscenes for this opening section of the game.
Your Majesty. Captain, why? Our king, what have you done?
The king intended all along to sell Dalmasca to the Empire. His Majesty was a traitor.
Captain,
Seize the insurgent.
Along!
Well, so much for peaceful negotiations.
We'll never surrender to you. We are not cattle to be sold by a traitor king.
But the war is over, my dear captain. You have lost. Dalmasca is the property of the Empire now. And think, we intended to let you keep some of your sovereignty, out of respect. But now you've gone and ruined that. Haven't you, Captain?
We will never bow to you.
And the people of Dalmasca will hate you for it. Take the captain away.
Off you go.
Vaughn.
And in his final moments in this scene here, Rex shouts out the name of his brother.
The Arcadian forces resumed their advance toward Rabanasta. Dalmasca's doom had been decided. To make resistance would serve no end. With this foremost in my thoughts, I to the people of Dalmasca. Sons and daughters of Dalmasca, I bid you lay down your arms. Raise songs of prayer in their stead. Prayer for His Majesty King Raminas, ever merciful, a man devoted wholly to peace. Prayer, too, for the noble Princess Ash, who, wrought with grief at her kingdom's defeat, has taken her own life. Know also that Captain Bosch von Ronsenberg, for incitement of sedition and the assassination of His Royal Majesty King Raminas, has been found guilty of high treason and put to his death. They who at this late hour choose still the sword are cut of the same cloth as the captain. Traitors who would lead Dalmasca to her ruin. Dalmasca's surrender without terms was soon to follow.
Wow, what an opening. So we get some deep story there and some explanation regarding Dalmasca, which is now under the command of the Empire, the evil Empire. I wonder if Palpatine's behind it all. Wouldn't surprise me. Right, folks, I'm going to finish off the episode here today, this very first episode of our walkthrough, because we're about to start the brand new story section here, involving Vaughn and his mission to kill sewer rats. So if that sounds exciting, do come back and join me for the next episode. If you've enjoyed watching today, don't forget to go ahead and hit that like button. Please make sure you're subscribed to the Fuzz Finger Gaming YouTube channel so that you're notified when each new episode is released. And let me know in the comments section if either you're just watching or going to be playing along as well. Until next time, folks, thanks for joining me today. See you soon.